Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, this is Tammy Wilgenbush with Card Designs by Tammy. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm so excited to bring you a new stamp set. It's not quite available to customers yet. It will be available March 1st, but I just couldn't wait because this is just absolutely gorgeous. I am so in love with this set, and it is a special edition. It's called Waves of the Ocean, and it's going to be available from March 1st to May 2nd. It is so pretty, and if I remember right, the stamp set, this is an early release, so the stamp set is going to be available in the upcoming annual catalog. That I believe the stamp set and dies, but the accompanying paper, rhinestones, and foil are only available while supplies last. So I would strongly recommend when this comes out March 1st to jump on it immediately, because this set is absolutely gorgeous. The stamp is beautiful. So this is the stamp set, and basically the main star of the show is the stamp, and it is a very big stamp, so you need either the Stamparatus or the very biggest, I believe this is F block. So it makes it a little unwieldy, but it actually stamps beautifully and really easily. It also has this cute little pelican, an adorable little seagull, and then some really nice sentiments. Happy birthday. Our friendship is a thing of beauty. You're so totally awesome, and your strength is an inspiration. So a very nice stamp set. And honestly, this wave stamp in and of itself is totally worth it. It is, again, it just stamps absolutely beautifully. And it also comes with a set of dies, and it comes with two big wave detail dies. And that is one thing I will say, I am a little disappointed that they don't have a die that actually cuts out the wave. It does cut out two detailed waves that you can layer together. I haven't yet. I've seen people layer them together, but they fit, of course, perfectly over the actual image of the stamp. So the stamp itself doesn't cut out, which I really do wish that one of the dies actually cut it out. Because if you want it, if you don't want to stamp it, which you'll see me, I will fussy cut one. I'm not a huge fan of the fussy cut. I mean, it looks pretty, but I think it would have looked better if there was an actual die. But these two dies are absolutely gorgeous. And then it comes with two sentiment dies, and I just cut this one out in the Coastal Cabana foil, and then just a white piece of paper. And they do go, this one coordinates with the happy birthday, and this will work with both of those. There isn't a die for the Our Friendship is a Thing of Beauty, but that's okay, it's a longer one. It is nice that the other two sentiments fit, or the other sentiments fit in these dies. Some of the other things it has are, it has two clouds. Let me see if I can pick them up. Dies, and I cut them out in mother of pearl. So the mother of pearl is a specialty paper that is part of the new mini catalog that came out in January. And I'm going to be honest, it makes beautiful clouds, and I don't know if you can see it, but the clouds do have some details. But the mother of pearl looks really pretty with them. And then it has these two dies here, and I've seen these two used a couple different ways. Some people have used them as wave accents, and if you think about it, they do look like waves. But actually, what they do, if I can pick this one up, is they overlap at the bottom of the clouds. So you can adhere them to make accents on the clouds. So that's kind of how I've used it. I haven't used it as a wave accent yet, but I have used it at the bottom of some of those clouds. So again, just a really nice detail that they have. And then this die here will cut out the pelican from the stamp set right there. And then this here cuts out little seagulls. And it doesn't coordinate with the stamp, but it's actually kind of nice because I have them in the Coastal Cabana. I also did them in foil, and the mother of pearl, I kind of have them in all different things. So it does have a couple of the seagulls. Then again, it's really fun if you can put it in foil, because then you can just add it to your card. So a really nice stamp set and dies, and the dies are very easy to use and cut out, I will say. And then, as I mentioned, it has paper. And it has 12 by 12 designer series paper, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And it coordinates with Night of Navy, Pacific Point, Coastal Cabana, and I believe that's Granny Apple Green. I think that's Daffodil Delight, and then Calypso Coral is in some of them. And you can just see this paper is beautiful. And there's the Calypso Coral. And it's so easy. You can do so much with this. You know, you can just imagine some scenes with the water and the, you know, a sunset. So just really, really pretty. And then this is the last piece. So I think this one's my favorite. I think I tend to use this the most. I don't know what it is about it, but they're all just very pretty papers. And then, as I mentioned, it does have some foil paper that goes with it. So it has 2 sheets, comes with 6 12 by 12 sheets, 2 each of Night of Navy, Coastal Cabana, and just a silver. So that is all of the paper. The other thing it comes with are Rhinestone Wave Basic Jewels. Always got to have those jewels. And these are very, very pretty. They have kind of the different colors, the navy and Pacific Point. They have kind of the Coastal Cabana colors, and then a Granny Apple Green. So really pretty rhinestones that go with it. So again, just a gorgeous stamp set, and I'll show you some of the cards that I've made. And today we're going to make 2 cards, so I'm going to try to hurry, but this is one of them I've made. It's the only one that I could that I used doing the pelican, and these rocks are actually from the oceanfront stamp set. I just stamped them in crumb cake and cut this one out to kind of put down there as, I don't know, another little accent. So, and there you can see the stamped wave, part of it anyway. This is another one. Again, you can see the pretty accent with the designer series paper. These are in gold foil, and I cut out a wave in the Coastal Cabana designer series paper and just put the little pelican in there. Here's one where you can see that I actually took a piece of designer series paper, and that's what this back one is, and I did stamp the wave in Pacific Point to kind of help it stand out a little bit, and then put the detailed die in the Coastal Cabana and put some of the birds and that. And the nice thing about these sentiment dies is because it has the hole in it, you can put ribbon, or I have done different types of twine. I have this huge ball of twine here, which honestly seems very sea-ish, something that you'd find on a dock or a boat. So I just thought that that worked really well with that one there. And again, you can see the gorgeous stamp. And here's another one. This is one where I did fussy cut out that wave. So what I did is I had one of the dies of the wave, and I put it on designer series paper and then cut it out. So behind this wave, that is one of the designer series paper, and again just traced it and fussy cut it out and put it on a background piece. And I cut out the details for the clouds in this designer series paper, and then used a blending brush to kind of color in the clouds with a little bit of calypso coral. And then of course use some of the rhinestone, and this is a little bit thinner twine. I think this is baker's twine for the sentiment. And there's, you can see the full wave stamped and just how pretty it is. And I think this is the last sample I have before I get to the two that we're going to make. And again, you can see just how pretty that wave is. And I let the designer series paper and have some foil back there. Just did the little pelican on the inside. And one thing, you may not be able to see it very clearly, but on this stamp, one of the things that I've done is I took some, it's stamped in Pacific Point, but I used a dauber and kind of sponged on some Night of Navy. And you'll see me do it on another one as well. And it just, I think I did it on here where it's Coastal Cabana with just a little bit of the Pacific Point. And so it just kind of brings in a few different shades, which is really pretty. I saw somebody do that and it was really pretty, so wanted to do that myself. So let's get to the cards that we're going to make today. First of all, I had a card and I wanted to use some of the mother of pearl. I've been really wanting to use it. So this is the card that we're going to make. And so I have all of my pieces here, including all of my little die cut pieces. And so I have a card base in Coastal Cabana, and it is just a standard card base at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored, so it is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And then I have, let's see, a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 white for the inside. I have a piece of Pacific Point that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I have a piece of paper that is 4 by 5 1/4. So I wanted to mat the designer series paper, so I just cut the bottom piece at 1/8 of an inch longer. And then the piece, I have a piece of mother of pearl, which is 3 1/4 by 4.5 inches. So 3 1/4 by 4.5 inches is what the mother of pearl is. So just some nice pieces for layering. So the first thing I think we're going to do, I also just have a random scrap of the designer series paper, and we are going to adhere the detailed die and then cut it out to put on the mother of pearl. And I have used adhesive sheets. They work very well with these dies because otherwise it is really difficult to put glue over all of those parts. So for the little seagulls and these detailed dies, I used adhesive sheets. So let me get that off and make sure, did I get it all? I think I did. Okay. So then I'm just going to take, and I want that one showing. I want some of the, and they're actually pretty easy to line up. Sometimes these larger dies that are really thin can kind of be unwieldy, but this just seems to line up really, really easily. There we go. And let me clean up my little area here. So then I'm just going to take my, make sure that's all good, glue down, paper snips, and I'm just going to cut along this die here. And I'll come back in and get that later, but I want to get up here so that it's a little bit easier to cut in that little small area. So it does cut out pretty easily. I just would have liked it die cut. But it's not too bad to cut. Now a little bit more tricky when you get in here. There. Now on one of the other ones, I actually cut into there, but I think I'm going to leave it like that and not cut that. I'm going to trim that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I am going to layer this on here, and I'll just trim that off. It's not a big deal, but what I wanted to do, because this is white, I wanted to take some Coastal Cabana and a blending brush, and I am going to blend a little bit of color on the mother of pearl. And it still looks really pretty. You can still see the sparkle of the pearl, but it just helps to give it just a little bit of extra, sky color. But I love the mother of pearl, and I've been wanting to use it. It's just, I don't know, it was a little bit difficult for me to figure out what to do with it. So, but it works really well for this again. And you may not even be able to see the color. It is pretty subtle, but it is there. So I don't know if you can see, but you can see that it still has all of the sparkle. And let me make sure. Yeah, get a little bit more in here. Perfect. And let me just get some of that off. Okay. So very nice. So now I'm just going to glue this down. And I actually tried to stamp the wave on the mother of pearl, but it wouldn't stay. It's too slick of a paper. So I did emboss on it. It will emboss, but if you can't really stamp directly on it. All right, so then I'm just going to trim off that excess there. All right, there we go. And again, even here, you can see if it will come off. It probably takes just a little bit for that to fully dry, but that's okay. All right, so I am going to, let's finish this up because I'm going to put it on this with dimensionals. So I have pre-cut one of the sentiment dies in the mother of pearl. And like I said, you can't stamp directly on it, but I was able to heat emboss. So what I did is I just took the happy birthday stamp. I just stamped it in Versamark and then stamped it right into the Pacific Point and then stamp it on here. You do have to be very careful because since this is slick, I ruined one because the stamp moves. So you have to be really careful and precise and try not to move the stamp at all because it will slide. And then I just put clear embossing powder and embossed it. So that was how I was able to get that on there. And so I'm going to come in with this twine, and I think it's just baker's twine. I'm not really sure. And I'm just going to cut off 2 strips. I want to make sure to give myself plenty of room. I did 3 before, but I think I'm just going to stick with 2. And what I'm going to do is put it, kind of run it through here. And then I'm going to tie it. And there's that. And then I'm going to run it through the other side. And like I said, I left myself way a lot of twine. So let me kind of cut it a little bit there. I wanted to make sure to leave myself enough to tie, but that might make it a little bit difficult to work with. So, oh, come on. All right. I keep having to remember, I think I'm going down too far and you can't see, but okay. So then we will tie this and we'll just try to work to get it. Gives you a little bit of room to kind of work so you can kind of line up where that knot is. I want it down kind of close there. There we go. And then I'm just going to trim those off. Okay. And then we can just add this with dimensionals. And I'm just going to put the dimensionals right over that twine. And then just adhere that just kind of right in the middle there. There we go. And it stays pretty straight. It does, you know, bend a little. It might be a little bit too wet. We'll see. Hopefully that'll stick. Okay. Let's see. And so then I have my mother of pearl cloud. And I have the cloud accent in this coastal cabana. And I'm going to take off the adhesive sheet backing. And then just stick it right down here at the bottom of this cloud. And it just gives it a gorgeous, gorgeous accent. And then this is just going to get glued straight down. And then, let's see, I have some mother of pearl seagulls. And again, like I said, the adhesive sheets just work really well for these. And I'll put one down there. Okay, very nice. So now I'm going to just take this and layer it on. The Pacific Point mat. And again, it's a pretty narrow mat. That designer series paper is just so pretty. And then I will glue this on the front of the card. And I love these blues together. I'm not sure I've ever, before this, I'm not sure I've ever used Pacific Point. So it's kind of nice that they have that. That's not a color that I've used much before. So it's kind of nice. Let's us use some different colors. All right. And let's see here. Oops. I got glue on my thing here. Okay, so I'm going to use some dimensionals, and I have some leftovers here. I don't know if anybody else does that, but when I get done with a pack of dimensionals, I cut the outsides, and works really well for, since they tend to be somewhat larger pieces, for these large pieces that go on the front of the card. Okay. Although sometimes, there we go. It doesn't want to come up. Okay, let me get these off and out of the way. And put that right on there. Okay, then we're going to finish this with some bling, of course. And let's use the darker ones for this. kind of pull in some of that Pacific Point from that designer series paper. There we go. And oops, forgot to do the inside. So for the inside, so that is the front of the card. And so for the inside, I'm actually going to stamp the big wave, and I'm going to stamp it in Coastal Cabana. So I'm going to ink it all up there. And then I'm going to come in with some Pacific Point, and I have my little sponge dauber here, and I'm just going to kind of tap it and then kind of work it in just kind of around the outside there. Give it a little bit extra color. And actually, I think I will stamp the whole thing of this. Okay. And so, again, the stamp itself is kind of big, but once I kind of get hold of it good, then it goes really well. I like to go down so that you don't see any white around the edges. Give it a nice firm press. And you can see just how gorgeous that is. And you can see, again, some of the coloring. So you can see the Coastal Cabana, but that Pacific Point, and just makes that coloring so natural. So pretty. And I'm going to just real quick, not clean my stamp too good, but just get some of that coloring off. All right, and then this just goes on the inside of the card. And there you have it. So very pretty, using that mother of pearl as a background. And again, it looks, they make beautiful, that mother of pearl makes the beautiful clouds and seagulls. So that is the first card that I have for you. Now the second card I have is a fun fold, so something a little bit different. I wanted to kind of bring in another template, but then also use this beautiful stamp set. So this is the card that we're going to make. All right. So again, very pretty. And so I am using Pacific Point as the base. And so again, this is a fun fold. So this card is not the usual size for a base. It is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. So 8 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then it is scored at 2 3/4. Okay, so 4 1/4, 8 1/4, and then you come in 2 3/4 and score it. And that piece is going to fold over here, and that will make the card base. Okay, so then the other piece we have is, we have actually a lot of pieces to this. So the other piece we have for this flap, so we need a piece that is 3 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So 3¼ by 5½, and you're scoring it at 1/2 inch. So you will see that it is scored there right at 1/2 inch. All right. And this is what gets adhered to the card. Okay. And that makes this flat. So to kind of put the card together, you will need a piece of designer series paper. And this piece is kind of a standard card front piece that is 4 inches by 5¼ inches. Okay. And that is actually going to go right here. Okay. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to kind of layer this first, because what we're going to do is we're basically going to put glue here, and it's going to glue to the back of this piece. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, just to kind of get the card actually assembled. Now you want to use a strong adhesive. You could use tear and tape. You could use Stampin' Seal Plus. I am going to use my handy dandy trusty Tombow glue. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of come in here and line this up in the middle. And give it a good press. Get it, kind of maneuver it. It's not, doesn't seem exactly even. And there we go. And that's all there is to that. And so you can see that that is glued right on the back there. And then we're just going to glue this whole thing down to that card base, kind of on the inside of the card. So just as I might put this on a card front, I'm just going to put this piece right in there. And then it folds like that. And this isn't really that even. Oh well. So there you go. And that's there you go. That's the fun fold. All right, now you get to play and decorate it, which is really fun. So before I get to stamping, I'm going to add in the rest of the designer series paper. And so I have a piece of designer series paper that is 2½ inches by 4 inches. And that's just going to go right here on the front. And I wanted the dark blue, and just figure out which way you want it. So this is a really nice card. Number one, it's kind of unique and fun, so it's a little bit different. It also, you get to showcase 3 different pieces of designer series paper. So it's a really fun card when you have really pretty designer series paper, and it's like, oh my gosh, which side do I want to do? Well, this one, you get to do 3 of them. So then for this piece here, that will go on the front. This is 3 inches by 4 3/4. Okay, so 3 inches by 4 3/4. And again, I could do that side, but I really wanted to pull in that Pacific point in Night of Navy more so than the Coastal Cabana. Okay, I got a little dimensional thing there. Alrighty, and we'll just glue this on. And then we get to do the fun stamping, but I like to get my pieces kind of adhered and out of the way. So there we go. So that is what the card looks like. So now we'll get busy to stamp. And I have 2 pieces that I'm going to stamp on. So for the inside of the card, I have a piece that is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So it will go in there and it will be hidden, but you know, enough that you can write on it. So 2 3/4 by 4 3/4 for the inside. And then I have a piece for the front, okay, that is 2.5 by 4 inches. And I also have a piece of silver foil. I want to try to bring in some foil. I could have done actually the Night of Navy, but I wanted to bring in some of that silver. And so the silver foil is just 1/8 of an inch larger than the white. So it just gives it a really narrow border, mainly because I wanted more of that designer series paper to show, but I just wanted some foil behind it. So the foil is 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. So this is 2.5 by 4. And so this is 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. All right. But before we adhere it all, we're going to stamp. And so basically we're going to stamp the wave on both of these. And so we're going to bring in our wave. And for this time, I'm going to close up my Coastal Cabana because we're done with that. And I don't want to get ink all over. We're going to use Pacific Point. And then we're going to come in with Night of Navy and do a little accent. So I'm going to take my Pacific Point and I'm going to ink up my stamp. Good. And then I have my Night of Navy dauber. And I'm going to come in just a little. And I'm going to put this on this one here. And there, and you can see again just some of that pretty accent colors. And then we're going to stamp or ink it up again in the Pacific Point and come in with that Night of Navy. And stamp this bottom here. And I probably didn't need the whole stamp because I'm only really going to do this part up here, I guess, is the only part that going on. But I inked up the whole thing anyway. That's okay. And there we go. And I've already done the envelope, so you can see I put some designer series paper on the flap of the envelope and then did that wave there as well. So there we go. Let me clean this off. And the stamp does take a lot to clean. It does use quite a bit of ink and it's very large, so I always have to come in and I'll just have to come in and re-clean it. So that's going to be on the inside. So for this, and hopefully I left enough room there. Oh yeah, that'll still fit there. So I'm going to do this in, let me put away my Night of Navy. I'm going to do You're So Totally Awesome in Pacific Point. And I'm just going to kind of angle it there. And it'll fit right up there in that corner. There we go. And then I'm done with this ink pad, so I'm going to put it away. So now what we have, we need, there's not a lot of room for a cloud, but we definitely can come in with some seagulls. And so I'm going to take 2 seagulls, and these are, cut these out in silver foil. And again, those adhesive sheets for these work wonders. Trying to put some glue on this and not get glue all over would be difficult for me. Maybe others can do it easily, but it would be difficult for me. So I'm going to come in now with some smoky slate and stamp in a few of these birds. Again, just as kind of an accent here. And let's do 3. Another one right up there. And actually, I'm going to put some on the inside too. I want some little seagulls over my waves. I don't know, there's something about this little seagull stamp. And I will say that with some of these stamps, it's so interesting how sometimes just the smallest stamp can just add just the perfect amount of, you know, design that really just finishes a look. So let's go ahead and glue this onto the foil. And then I'm gonna adhere that with dimensional. So while I have my glue out, I'm gonna go ahead and just take this and glue it on the inside. And then I think I can put away my glue. And let's just, yep. You figure if you just could have put it in the middle, it will not show. And I can kind of line it up with that side and then this goes on here. Like I said, I'll put this on with some dimensionals. And I'm all done with that one. So let me find my other dimensionals. I have a whole pile of dimensionals and adhesive backings over here on the side. That's okay. Okay. Now. Perfect. So now I'm going to come in and add some rhinestones. And I don't know if you can tell, but there is a little space there. Actually, I do have an eraser. I wonder if that will, where I got some ink. So I have a sand eraser. We'll see if we can't lighten it a little bit, and then I will throw, there we go. We just throw a rhinestone right over it, and no one is the wiser. Nice big rhinestone right there. Let's see, can't even tell. Always a nice way to fix those imperfections in cards. Because they are going to happen. There. So, there we go. The other fun fold card that gets to showcase this gorgeous stamp set. So this was the Waves of the Ocean suite again. The stamp set is Waves of Inspiration, and it will be available March 1st. And again, the stamp set and dies will be in the annual catalog coming out, I think, in May. But this paper, the jewels, and the foil are only available through May 2nd. So you will want to get on it right away when it comes out. Now, if you aren't a demonstrator and join now, you can actually get it when you join. And if you remember, it is Celebration. And so actually a perfect time to join, because number one, if you join, it's $99. You get $125 of material for the $99. And again, you can use this suite for part of that. You also get Celebration products. And so for every $50 you get to choose a product, there are a couple products that are level 2, so you have to spend $100 to get them. But during Celebration, if you join, you also get 2 additional stamp sets for free. So it is a wonderful time to join. And then you can actually get this stamp set now without having to wait to March 1st. But it's easy to wait till March 1st. And again, I would highly recommend it. It is gorgeous paper and gorgeous stamp set. And that wave stamp stamps so easily and is just really gorgeous. So thank you so much for watching. If you like the cards, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos and ideas to come. Thanks a lot.